Hello and welcome back. Today we will take a look at what was discussed during the latest Aion2 livestream. I will focus more on the different systems and bonus infos than on the gameplay. We will cover more of the gameplay in the next video. This time we start with the news around PvP and Abyss point acquisition. They mentioned once more that PvP is encouraged, but it is not necessary like it was in the first Aion game. There are also multiple ways to get Abyss points beyond the usual kill enemies from the other faction or killing monsters in the Abyss. They mentioned a couple of methods. For one, Aion2 will have arenas. 1v1, 4v4 and 8v8. Those are open all the time and you get Abyss points for that. No matter if you win or lose. Obviously you will get more if you win. They also showed some of the minigames in the Shugo Festa. These minigames can also give you a limited amount of Abyss points. It won't be that much, but it is there. The jump puzzle that was shown there looked like a lot of fun. I also liked that in Final Fantasy XIV, so I'm sure many of you will enjoy this too. Now the third way of getting Abyss points without doing PvP is delivering supplies. As you can see with the example, you deliver for example 2 specific food items and in return you gain some rewards. In these rewards are also Abyss points. Now let's talk about crafting. Crafting will apparently be incredibly important. The best PvE armor in the game will be a crafted armor. Not something that drops randomly from a dungeon boss. We don't have any details yet, because this can be done in so many different ways. Will it be a sort of token system where you have a guarantee to gain a special material or token every time you kill the boss of the endgame dungeons, and you can then craft the best PvE set with these? Or do the materials themselves also have a low drop chance from the dungeons and bosses? Either way, crafting will be important. Oh, also, crafts that failed or didn't proc to the best result were usually just a waste in the first Aion game. Just trash. In Aion2, however, these failed crafts are tied into the supply deliveries we mentioned before. So even if it fails, you at least get something out of it. Okay, let's talk about gear now. Every class is bound to one specific weapon. The gladiator, for example, can use greatswords, and that's it. The gladiator can no longer use pole arms, dual-wield weapons or use a bow. The same goes, for example, for Templars. They can only use a sword and a shield now. They are not capable of using a greatsword or mace anymore. In the first Aion game the weapons were separate. Like the Templar had a sword and a shield, which both were their own separate weapons, or slots. Now in Aion2, these are combined. Every weapon is the combined version of this class's weapon combo, so to speak. For assassins, they have 2 short swords and can no longer use the sword and dagger combo like in the first Aion game. When it comes to gear slots, we have quite a few more slots than in the first Aion game. For weapon and armor, we have the weapon slot, then something that seems like the feather ornament in the first Aion game, and then the usual stuff like helmet, shoulder armor, chest piece, the belt is also here in the armor department this time. Then we have pants, gloves, a cloak and boots. As a little side note here, the gear shown in this image is called Courageous Breastplate, for example. The Courageous set was the plate version of the Devanian set in the first Aion game. Many of you might remember this. You would get one piece of this set for every level 30 or above character you had on your account. Now don't get overly excited, this is not a confirmation. It could also be that this armor simply has a similar name and is not related to the Devanian armor at all. But I still wanted to mention it. Now let's get to the accessories. We have 2 earrings, 2 rings and a necklace, like it was in the first Aion game. But then we also have these 5 new slots. Let's get into the enchanting now. As we know from the first Aion game, the enchanting seems to go up to plus 15. But new in Aion2 is that not only the weapon and the armor pieces can be enchanted, but also the accessories can be enchanted to plus 15. To do that, you will need enchantment stones. And they even mentioned that you will need a lot of enchantment stones for that. You can get these enchantment stones as an example as drops from monsters or by disenchanting equipment. Now here comes the big thing. When you enchant a gear piece up to +10, it has a 100% success rate. At +11, it goes down to a 60% success rate. The higher you go, the lower this success rate obviously gets. Now we are not done with the good news though. If the enchantment fails, the item doesn't drop its level. So if you fail the enchantment from +11 to +12, it will simply remain at +11 instead of dropping to +10, like it would have been in the first Aion game. Not only that, but also every time you fail, the success rate slightly increases. This is very similar to the system in Lost Ark, for everyone that has played that. And it doesn't stop here either. Let's say you have an okay weapon and got it to +12. You ran a dungeon and got a better weapon. If you now disenchant the +12 weapon, you will get all of the enchantment stones that you used back. The only thing that you will lose are the Arcana for the enchanting. So you can immediately level up your new weapon and don't have to wait until you have enough resources. For PvP gear, the Abyss gear, it is similar. If you disenchant that gear, you will get 80% of the Abyss points you spent back. So thanks to this new system, there will be less anxiety about downgrading your gear, and there will be more focus on actually gathering the resources to chase the upgrades. Is gear tradable? Most drops are bound on equipment, meaning you can freely trade them or sell them, and only if you equip them they can't be traded or sold anymore. There are a few exceptions for the real endgame dungeons where the drops are bound on pickup. That is good, I personally am a fan of this, because I don't want a selling endgame dungeon loot system that we had in the first Aion game. I hope that stays behind and dies. Let's get into the skill progression. The skills can be leveled up to level 10 with just normal skill points, but you can push them even higher. One of these possibilities is your gear. Your gear pieces can have the effect of increasing the level of the ambush skill, for example, by 1. And then there is also the Arcana system. These are these cards that can also increase the levels of your skills. You get these Arcana by doing the real endgame dungeons. These Arcana are very similar to the cards that were in Lost Ark. I don't remember how they are called right now, but for those of you that have played Lost Ark, you know what I'm talking about. There will be transformations in the game, like with this candy you can transform into your own pet. These however are only cosmetic. There are no benefits like stat increases to it, and I honestly pray that this will stay this way. They will start with 10 servers. These 10 servers are matching with opposite names, like one Ilios server will be called Ariel, the leader of the Ilios, while the opposing Asmodean server will be called Azphel, the leader of the Asmodeans. And here we see many of these examples with the Empyrean Lords, but also an Ilios server called Phrygian, and an Asmodean server called Ereshkigal. The same for Meslamteda and Beritra. Now these servers will stay with these opposing names for now. However, when it comes to RVR content, they will in the future adapt it. Meaning if let's say the Ilios Phrygian server is more populated than the Asmodean Ereshkigal server, but the Asmodean's Beritra server is more populated than the Ilios Meslamteda server, then they will adapt it that the Phrygian server and the Beritra server with the high population will compete in RVR instead, while the lower populated Ereshkigal and Meslamteda servers will compete against each other. I think that's also a nice adjustment and will hopefully balance the factions and servers. We saw that especially in Korea, the faction balance is crazy broken on a lot of servers. Even in other games like World of Warcraft, the factions were really hard to balance. Maybe this is a good solution. The monetization is once again very controversial and nobody seems 100% sure how it exactly works right now. Other content creators have voiced their concerns, and that is not really without reason, because some people say that the game will have a usual membership that costs around 15 euros and a premium membership that costs an additional 20 euros. Other sources, however, say that these are just 2 tiers of the same membership. So if you pay the €20 membership, you get the €15 membership anyway. The 2-tiered membership would be acceptable, but the additional membership would be insane. However, take that as not confirmed yet. As soon as I have reliable information, I will give you that info in a new video. The reason why these double memberships are under such fire is the fact that they also have the currency exchange from Kina to Kuna and the other way around, which is also encouraging pay to win. And then they also have potentially battle passes and the usual in-game shop for skins and such. This is a lot. Now again, I can't confirm much of this myself, so take it with a grain of salt. I will inform you as soon as I learn more and have reliable information. And that's pretty much all there is to it for now. That was everything surrounding the Aion2 systems and bonus infos that we got from that livestream. In the next video I will go a bit deeper into the gameplay itself and the dungeon and boss fight that we saw during the livestream. As always, if you want to stay up to date with the latest Aion2 news, make sure to join the Aion2 community Discord. Have a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye!